Hi, I'm Mike,
And I'm Elise,
host of Crackin' One Open with Mike and Elise.
a podcast about brews, news, and pop culture reviews.
Every Friday, we choose a new craft beer from a different brewery and talk about
The history of the beer,
what's in it,
how it was made,
the history of the brewery.
along with tasting notes and more fun facts.
After that, come chill with us as we bring you the latest in pop culture news and reviews.
So check out Crackin' One Open, part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Hello there, I'm Colleen.
I'm Anders.
And I'm Daniel.
We're three nerds that met through our love of science fiction and fantasy storytelling. Of course, one of our favorites is George Lucas's signature achievement, Star Wars.
And if there's one thing the internet definitely doesn't have enough of, it's nerds talking about Star Wars. So here we are with yet another Star Wars podcast, where each week we discuss one of the films in the current Star Wars canon.
From the sands of Tatooine to the levels of Coruscant, we cover it all. Yet another Star Wars podcast is available wherever you get your podcast and is part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Nothing.
You done? Story elements, Butler. Story is a great thing. Is what we're doing. You're telling me a
There's a great
story
story
and
here. I'm like, oh, you're done. You're done.
He hasn't. He's still leaping, but he's not home yet. Right? They just need to do the episode before everyone dies.
Ziggy.
So when he has sex with them,
They bang. Hi, I'm Mike Butler,
I'm Mike Field.
and you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema Podcast. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences, whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the film simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the film, or maybe don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. You never know, you might find your own forgotten gem. If you enjoy our podcast, please feel free to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you're listening to this podcast right now.
What's up?
Nothing, just getting a team together, hunt down some fugitives. You know, I don't care if they're innocent or guilty. It's just the law.
Well,
I got
according to the test audience, he had to be innocent in order for them to really like the movie. Oh, what are we doing today, Mike?
We are doing 1998's The Fugitive. Nope.
Wow.
US Marshals.
Wow. Whoop, whoop. You switched the samples. All right. We're actually doing US Marshals, the sequel to the highly popular Fugitive, unless you talk to John Amenta from Peta Comics, who does not like it. He mentioned to me one time, because I did an episode with him on Rollerball, the bad one, and he's like, hey, you guys were mentioning me, and I think you were talking about me, but you didn't say it. So, but now I'm just going to call him out. He doesn't like the Fugitive, so head on over to Peta Comics and let him know why he's wrong. Just kidding, John. All right, so US Marshals is, here we go. Here's the movie synopsis. An airplane bearing gruff US Marshal Sam Gerard crashes in the wilderness on board the same flight as Mark Sheridan, a federal prisoner accused of double murder, who escapes during the ensuing chaos, but not before rescuing several people from the wreckage. Not sure why that needs to be in the synopsis. Gerard is ordered, not really, to hunt down the fugitive along with State Department agent John Royce. He's DSS. And the two pursue Sheridan relentlessly, despite growing doubts about his guilt.
I mean, that's a
synopsis. Well, here's the thing. This synopsis is kind of a tiny little microcosm of probably one of my notes in this movie, is that it's called US Marshals, but so it's supposed to be about the team, and the team is not mentioned in the synopsis, and in the movie, it's really more about Sam Gerard.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think it's I don't like the title. That's kind of my thing. I don't think.
What if they take
fits.
away the S?
You Marshals?
US. Yes, at the end.
You Marshals. Get over here.
US Marshal.
I get. Why don't you just call it Sam Gerard US Marshal? Like something like that.
Oh, that's a terrible.
It's better than US Marshals.
Sam Gerard US Marshal.
Why? Because I got to see Daniel Roebuck. Oh, they got free food. Is this free? Is anyone eating this food here? Is this free? It's like, what is this? Anyways.
That's fine.
Anyways.
That's what they were like in The Fugitive, too.
We'll get into it. But let's go through some facts. So US Marshals has a runtime of 131 minutes. It's rated PG-13. Production budget of $60 million. Release date was Friday, March 6th, 1998. Opening weekend, it did $16.8 million, domestic 57, and worldwide 102. I'm going to guess that it's probably in the black now because of DVD, but it probably, based upon
marketing and stuff, probably just
marketing and and I know there were some reshoots. I think that's what ballooned it to 60, but production company was Coppelson Entertainment and distributed by Warner Brothers. So obviously it's available on HBO Max. That's where Mike watched it. Unfortunately, it wasn't available when I could watch it. So I was a little
day later, came out free.
And I had to watch it without in that widescreen, which I don't like. So I said it came out March 6th. It came up against Hush. You remember Hush?
I remember the Buffy episode Hush. I don't know about the movie Hush.
Twilight, not the Twilight you're thinking of. And The Big Lebowski. Obviously, everybody knows of that movie.
That's the only one I know out of those.
That's not wrong to know that. Limited release also had Love and Death on Long Island. I believe that's with John Hurt. So March 13th, the week after, you had The Man in the Iron Mask, which is actually a very good movie. It has a terrible title.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's the story. Is The Man in the Iron Mask.
Yeah, so. But it's about the Three Musketeers, the older Three Musketeers. I think they could have named it a little bit better.
Three Musketeers, old Man in the Iron Mask.
US Marshals. Chairman, also the chairman of the board, not the chairman of the board, chairman of the board, not Frank Sinatra, but in fact, Carrot Top, for all you Carrot Top fans out there.
I don't know why that is one of the few films you've listed so far. I know, but I know that film.
Well, you should only know Carrot Top, quite frankly, from The Hangover, and that's probably it.
Yeah, probably.
And also in a limited release, you had Mean Streets, a re-release of Mean Streets. That's the Scorsese film. The week before, the 27th of February, you had Dark City. Very good movie. It's also very not say good movie, but a cult classic kind of thing. Cult movie, yeah. Kissing a Fool. That's the David Schwimmer film where I believe. Oh, okay. Yeah. Krippendorf's Tribe, which I know is probably inappropriate now.
Yep.
Although I kind of want to go back and watch it just to kind of see.
I liked it when
see the inappropriate. I just want to see it.
Now I feel like it.
I just need to see it. I need to watch it again so I can be like, yep, okay, yep, all right. And Caught Up, and you also had a limited release in Alan Smithy film, Burn Hollywood Burn, and The Real Blonde. So this film is directed by Stuart Baird, who has nominated for 2 Oscars, but they're for editing. And he actually primarily does a lot of editing.
He's done a lot of editing.
He's only had maybe 3 or 4 directorial credits, and he was nominated for an Oscar for editing for the original Superman and the movie Gorillas in the Mist. He also directed Executive Decision, which has the best death in it, the Steven Seagal death, and of course Michael's favorite movie, Star Trek Nemesis.
It's not as bad as Insurrection, but this is the guy that basically directed this movie and said that he didn't care about Star Trek, which is why Nemesis plays like it's not a Star Trek movie for the send-off to the best TV show of the whole, whatever. You know, this isn't the start. This isn't the place.
That rant was brought to you by Bruce. Just kidding, Bruce. Written by John Pogue. I don't even know if that's how you say his name. Pogue?
I think that's how you say his name. Yeah.
He wrote the 2002 terrible remake of Rollerball. Just go watch the 75 version. He also wrote The Skulls, which was take place in New Haven.
Was The Skulls interesting? I remember.
Was it interesting?
It's not good. I feel like
it's not great. But the only thing that's interesting about it is it took place in New Haven.
Yeah,
that's all.
Which is close to where we are.
Yeah. He also did Ghost Ship, and he directed the Deep Blue Sea 3, which I've never seen. You also had an uncredited rewrite of the script here by Dick Beebe, who wrote the 1999 House on Haunted Hill remake, Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. Cinematography by, I'm going to butcher this, Andrzej Barkowiak, excuse me.
I can't help you that one.
I apologize. He was director of photography on Death Trap. He also did Twins, Falling Down, and Speed. A very good movie. Composer was Jerry Goldsmith. I'm not going to run through everything he's done, but he was nominated for a bunch of Oscars, including nominated for Oscars for LA Confidential, Basic Instinct, Hoosiers, and he won the Oscar for The Omen.
So for Jerry Goldsmith,
yes,
did you get the note that some of his music from the TV show made it into this?
His music?
There's a very odd note that basically said that some of his music from the original series made it in. But when I looked up the original series, he's not listed as having done the soundtrack.
I don't know, but the original series music is in the movie of The Fugitive. And this is from the movie. So I think it's just kind of like this. Like
his redo of the score from the first game.
There's a credit on here, which I didn't write it down because it's just basically are you on Wikipedia?
I have all the tabs, yes.
Hang on. Oh, never mind. I remembered his name. There is a credit on here for Roy Huggins, who wrote for the characters.
Right.
He has the same credit for The Fugitive because he wrote the characters for the TV show. So it just carried over. Yeah, it just carried over. Edited by Terry Rawlins. He is nominated for an Oscar for Chariots of Fire. He also edited Blade Runner and the movie Alien. I don't know if anyone's heard of that. And like I said, produced by Coppelson Entertainment. That's a husband and wife team, and Coppelson, who they have all produced Perfect Murder, The Fugitive, obviously, Seven, Falling Down, Platoon, Mad City, and The Devil's Advocate, to name just a few. Well, they are a big time producing team. I believe Arnold Coppelson passed away a couple years ago, 2019. I'm guessing. I think. All right, so you have Sam Gerard, played by Tommy Lee Jones. He won an Oscar for The Fugitive, which is probably why they did this movie.
Played the same character,
and he is awesome in The Fugitive. And I will get to it, but I believe his Sam Gerard in The Fugitive is much better than his Sam Gerard here.
We'll get to it. We're going to talk.
Oh, we're going to have He also was nominated for an Oscar for Lincoln, In the Valley of Elah, and JFK. Wesley Snipes plays Mark Sheridan. He is our fugitive for this movie. He is in Major League, Passenger 57. He's also in 2 movies that we did, New Jack City and Wet Men Can't Jump.
I think we have to put Passenger 57 on this list.
No, it's because the only reason I put it on this list is because I only remember the line "Always Bet on Black."
Well, that's because you've mentioned it now.
It's because it's an awesome line. It's an awesome line. But the movie is not good.
I don't really remember it at all.
Well, I've seen it. I was on maybe a couple months ago, and that I saw maybe 20 minutes of it. It's not good.
After this movie ended, HBO Max wanted me to watch Murder at 1700, and I was like, 1600. I've only watched that.
1700 is down the road.
I've only watched that the one time, and I was like, is that good? I remember being interested in it, but that might just be because I liked Wesley Snipes.
Well, I lumped that with the Sentinel. Remember we talked about the Sentinel?
Right. Yeah.
We're like,
you didn't know.
I know I've seen it, but what is going on in that? So there's a bunch of
White House
murders. Yeah. The Gene Hackman, Clint Eastwood one about, where his daughter gets involved or gets murdered or something like that. And he's trying to find out. There's a bunch of those little things. So you also had Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark's in this movie. He plays Royce.
He's not Tony Stark yet.
Not yet. He's in the Judge. He actually directed The Judge as well. He was in Less Than Zero. He's also been nominated for 2 Oscars: Tropic Thunder, which I forgot about, and Chaplin. Joe Pantoliano as Renfro, or Cosmo Renfro. You may know him as Cypher from The Matrix, or Ralph Cifaretto from the TV show The Sopranos. And of course, the Bad Boys trilogy, which I guess there'll be a quadrilogy now, right?
Well, he won't be in the 4th one.
Did he die in the 3rd one?
His son, Will Smith's son. Spoiler: Will Smith's son kills him
in the 4th one. In the 3rd one?
In the 3rd one, takes him out with a sniper.
I didn't remember that. Oh, yeah. I've completely
after he talks to Martin Lawrence.
You're right. I've completely blocked that out of my memory. Wow.
And at the end, they're forgiving him. And I'm like, they just killed your best friend.
Yeah, I don't like that. All right. Daniel Roebuck as Biggs. He's from the TV show Matlock. He's also in River's Edge, Project X, and Final Destination. Tom Wood as Noah Newman. This is Tom Wood's last film because he goes on to be a musician.
Oh, is that what he did? Okay.
He's got a website. He's Governor Tom. He's created this musical entity called Governor Tom. And so he just creates music and stuff like that. He also was in Under Siege and Apollo 13. LaTanya Richardson Jackson is in this. She plays
Cooper.
Yeah, right. Is that her name?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't realize she's in Juice. She's the mother in Juice, which is the one we did. She's also in Malcolm X, Sleepless in Seattle, and Losing Isaiah. Irene Jacob as Marie. She's in the 3 Colors trilogy, Red. And she's also in The Double Life of Veronique. Yeah, I guess so. Veronica? I don't know.
I'm not going to help you there.
I do want to watch the movie, though. Kate Nelligan as Walsh. She's nominated for an Oscar for The Prince of Tides and The Cider House Rules. And then Michael Paul Chan as Chen. I only have him here because he's in The Goonies. So is Pantoliano, for those who don't know.
Michael Paul Chan did a lot of small stuff in the 90s.
Yes, but he's actually, he was on the TV show The Closer and the sequel to that, the TV show Major Crimes, for the both total was 300 episodes.
Nice.
I know. So, and I actually really like The Closer. So he's good in it. He's he knows a lot of stuff, a lot of information. One of those guys that has all this knowledge and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. So anyways, I don't know. I guess go watch The Closer. Yeah. So that's all I got.
30 minutes later. All right. So that's all the time we got, guys.
Shut up. Okay.
It's a big cast. So
here's the thing. Here's my big thing. And I'm going to get right to it.
Tell me why you hate it.
I don't. Here's the thing. Is it fair for me to compare this movie to The Fugitive? No, it's not.
But you're going to.
But I do. But you do anyway. You're forced to.
Listen, even I'm not going to completely disagree with you on a lot of the stuff you find wrong, because I haven't seen this movie since probably 2000. I told you probably freshman year of college. That was the last time I watched this movie. So that's 2007.
Right.
But so even now watching it, I'm like, okay, yes, there's stuff that you're going to point out that now I'm going to agree with you that maybe before I would have been like, nah.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead. Tell me why I hate it.
I'm not gonna. I'm only using the comparison to The Fugitive just in terms of the Mark Sheridan character and what makes The Fugitive so good, and what kind of it's missing out of this one is that in The Fugitive, you are invested in Richard Kimball's journey. His trying to find his wife's killer, prove his innocence. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's his story. And the reason why Tommy Lee Jones is so good in this movie and Sam Gerard is so good is because he does not have to carry the film. He is a character who's tracking him down. You know, he's charismatic and he's running this team, and it's all good. Like that, but that's in opposition of this story where we are invested in the Kimball story. In the Mark Sheridan stuff, I don't know. I don't know enough about Mark Sheridan. It's not focused on him. It's focused on these guys.
See, I think the problem with Mark Sheridan, and you had brought it up, off mic like a week ago when we first were like, oh, what are we doing this week? We're doing US Marshals, is that he should have been guilty. And according to you, like test audiences didn't like it.
Oh, they didn't like it.
Him innocent, but
because they wanted Gerard tracking down an innocent man so that he would be like he would redeem himself or redeem the innocent man.
I get that. And some of that's interesting. I mean, it's interesting, the spy twist and stuff. But the fact that it's just another fugitive who's innocent, and you don't, because this is Gerard's film,
right?
We don't get enough time with Sheridan to feel for him,
right?
And he's because not a nice guy. And he's a spy. He's a murderer.
It's not his movie. It's not called The Fugitive 2 or whatever. It's called US Marshals. So it's about them. So what they're doing, like who they're hunting down or what the investigation is,
shouldn't be as important as
it shouldn't be. It should be about them. It should be about either Gerard, somebody from Gerard's past, or it shouldn't be about somebody completely different that we're asked to make an investment in. But the movie's not about him. It's about the US Marshals tracking him down. So he should be an ultimate, like you said, an ultimate bad guy. They should, you know what I mean?
Right.
He should kill more than one he should actually murder more than one person on their team. It should be just, and set it up where it's him against Gerard. Because in this, which they do in this, where they make it like Gerard's going after, he takes it personally. It's like
they do it too late in the film.
They do it too late. Like the death of Noah is way too late.
Yep.
Because
that's one of my notes.
Right. It comes way too late because you're just like, he needs to go on this journey alone where he disregards them and he needs to realize that he needs his team.
Right.
He never does in this movie because it's too late.
Well, he has his team the whole time. Yeah.
True.
So he doesn't need his team at the end because the team has done the work and he's done.
Right.
Noah dying at the beginning or toward the middle of the film would cause this ripple that would change it, because the whole point of Sam Gerard is he always follows the rules. He always gets his man, and he follows the letter of the law. Like,
sure,
doesn't care if you're innocent or guilty. And then it all gets out the window, but only at the end.
See, I agree.
Noah should have died about an hour into the movie, an hour, 10 minutes into the movie.
And as soon as you see Royce, you know he's the bad guy. Like when nobody's shocked when Robert Downey Jr.'s character Royce is suddenly the bad guy, because he just I'm here to help you guys out. It's like, well, clearly no. Well, clearly there's something off.
Yeah, and then he undoes his own handcuffs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There should have been more moments of him going against his superiors. You know, you get that scene where he's in the office in the UN mission headquarters, and he's just kind of like standing there while they're asking, how did you get these tapes of the murder Mark Sheridan had assassinated 2 other spies?
Right.
How did you get these tapes? You know, this is classified information. And there should have been like a scene where Robert Downey Jr. kind of stood up when I did, because these guys are trying to do it. Like, if he had had more moments where he stood up to them, his bosses, to try to make it seem like he was on Gerard's side, the twist would have been a little more shocking.
Yeah, the audience is left to infer that from his demeanor, his looks and stuff like that.
His look is kind of like, are you going to catch him? Just,
Yeah,
it is not a heel turn where it's like shocking at all.
Right.
You're waiting for it the whole time.
Right. So, and also, I mean, this also could be like, he didn't like working on the film. Robert Downey Jr. Did you see
his
that?
quote was like so pathetic. I was just like, come on, dude.
It's possibly the worst action film of all time. And then he goes off in this Eastern religion.
Go to a spirit guide.
Yeah.
He would say this is killing you inside.
Yeah.
I thought this would be the kind of movie that I used to like watching. I could take my kids to and stuff.
I didn't really go through like, kind of like, his history when he had
this is like into it. This is way into it.
So you kind of know that.
Oh yeah, the last scene in the hospital, he didn't show up for days.
Yeah.
They had to pause production, and then he just finally showed up.
Yeah, so
and didn't apologize or say anything.
What's funny is that there's obviously other stuff going on in the background and of his personal life,
right?
And it's unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. People have demons, and I get it. And but like, so I always remember the story about when Johnny Depp did Chocolat for Lars Hallström, and he said that because he also did What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and he had mentioned that he did it as a favor because he was such a jerk on What's Eating Gilbert Grape set because he was having issues and stuff like that, and he was just not somebody pleasant to work with, that he felt that he owed it to do this movie with him, and I'm like, okay. Like, that's great. That's fantastic. It's like, you make amends, and I love that. But like, you kind of want to like that kind of quote. You can't leave that quote out there. Like Robert Downey Jr.
That quote is still within his. That quote was still within his addiction.
I get that. I get that. It's just unfortunate that you kind of hope that you're like, yeah, no, that was bad. I shouldn't have said that or something like that. But what are you gonna do?
Well, that's
you move on.
Yeah, that's still addiction. He's kind of changed. He's definitely turned his life.
Of course.
So.
It's that that. I guess that note is kind of dated. Let's say it's dated.
It is dated. Yeah. Because he'd probably have a different opinion now.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And I know that, what were we talking about? Where when we did Begin Again, which is an episode we did, you should check out.
That was last week.
Well, last week to us. Oh, 10 weeks ago to people listening now.
Oh, you're right. I apologize. 10 weeks ago.
When we talk about how the director and Keira Knightley didn't get along together, and it took you out of the film, because it's like, oh, that's too bad, because you'd think like, this has a really good cast, and you want to think like people had a good time filming, or you don't like to hear, people had a shit time making a movie that,
it's unfortunate.
In the end, wasn't terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think my biggest gripe with this movie is the script, is the plot. It's just kind of like when stuff happens, and the fact that like I think that the Mark Sheridan character should not have been in there. I think it definitely needs to be more personal for the US Marshals.
Well, I think that by making Mark Sheridan an assassin and a spy, you make it a different movie.
Yeah,
you needed more Sheridan then, because that spy stuff is really interesting. The spies operating within the US,
yeah, but
it's Gerard's story, so you don't focus on that.
That's the thing. You basically sold this sequel as, we're going to bring back Tommy Lee Jones' character and everyone else, and it's going to be about them. It's like, okay, then it needs to be about that. Let's learn more about their life. There's like the fact that he shows up in the beginning with the reporter who is like 40 years his junior.
Well, yeah. And
I'm like, come on. And the boss says like, obviously they have an affection for each other, but they never go into that.
Right.
They never talk about how she's like, I love you, but I won't be able to fire you. But like, they never, but you want at the end of the movie where you want him to be like, hey, let's go have dinner. You want him to understand that.
Right.
And you don't get that.
I don't know if I want him to understand that.
I'm only talking,
that's what they're at.
I'm only talking about ways to make this more personal to why it's called US Marshals. That's what I'm saying.
I think the focus on him, I think, again, Sheridan having that big spy story is too complicated and too complex. And Sheridan being a spy makes him a murderer anyway, so you might as well make him a bad guy. I mean, he's a spy. He did killing. He was bad. Mm-hmm. Even if he was good and innocent of these crimes. It's just a bad guy would have been better, or just like some kind of like meek, innocent guy that just happens to be getting the better of them. Some kind of survivalist, or who kind of can blend in, or, Kimball was a doctor. You need somebody like that if you're going to make another person innocent.
But it's not
a super spy, because that makes that character too interesting.
I just think I think you can't focus on the fugitive in this movie, because it's not about them. It's about the US Marshals. So you need something like in Die Hard or Die Hard of Vengeance, where it's somebody who has a bone to pick with Gerard. Just like somebody had a bone to pick with McClane.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? That's what you do. You do somebody that is actively trying to go at them and you're not making them the heroes here. You're just making them civil servants, and you're expecting us to be like, oh, Mark Sheridan, we got to hope that he, and Wesley Snipes does a good job in this movie. It's not his fault. It's just the way the script is.
Did you know originally it was supposed to be Sam Jackson?
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah, I think I was thinking, that would be way different.
Yeah. And I would always just think about The Negotiator, because it's almost, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. And
the same year, right?
90. Oh yeah, I think so. 98.
He'd be playing the same character.
Yeah. That's probably, and I wonder if he
realized that when he got out.
And it was like, I'm doing this over here. Yeah. Why bother? Yeah. No. Wesley Snipes is good in the movie. It's just, it's not his fault.
It's the character that
it's just the way the
doesn't
script
need to be
is.
in there,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just not. It's the focus is not where it should be. That's probably my biggest thing. Like I love so. Let's go into a couple things that I like, and then I'll start nitpicking. There's two things I like in this movie that are fantastic. It's the models. It's the model of the plane crashing.
the plane crash is awesome.
Yep.
And was super complicated to
Yes.
do.
Well, and the stunt of him jumping off the roof, which is actually how it happened.
Yes.
Like when I read that, I was like, excellent.
One shot, one take. Can only do one.
So the part where Mark Sheridan gets caught on the roof and Gerard's up there, they're trying to redo the scene from
it's
See,
the
that's the
pipe
other thing.
moment.
That's the other thing they're doing. They're trying to recreate moments from the original movie, which is come on.
There's two moments where they tried to recreate
The plane, the both
There's
moments.
three.
The crash.
Well, the crash, they wanted to better crash.
Yeah, the stupid. We've got a fugitive when they do that
His
nonsense.
fugitive speech.
I'm supposed to the expectation is as an audience member, I'm supposed to stand up on my seat and go, yeah.
You gotta check every outhouse, henhouse. Yeah,
come on.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Although I do like that it leads up for him just like not liking what the other sheriff's doing. We gotta make a circle thing.
Yeah.
There's that moment on the roof, and then there's the moment at the end
Yeah.
where he lets them go and they have their very slight little talk.
The plane crash as well is supposed to outdo the train crash. That's the whole reason. Yeah. So anyways, he's on the roof and he jumps and he's attached to a pulley, a rope, swings down across this building to they say like to the top of the subway, but he gets to the top of the roof next to the subway and then jumps on it. So that movement, that jump that from the roof to that building was actually really happened. Was a stuntman, Clay Donahue Fontenot, who was no safety net. There's no airbag. He had to jump from the roof to the train roof. He did it in one take. It took 10 weeks to plan and 8 hours to set up. And he did that stunt. And you tell then I'm going to tell you
17 seconds.
right. And I'm going to tell you right now, I know it's dangerous, but I prefer that to anything that's on stagecraft or anything that's on green screen because to me that's impressive. That's filmmaking.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
That's
done-
action movie.
That's what stuntmen do,
yeah.
and that stuntmen want to do, and stunt women want to do that.
That's why you come, like we talk about all the time. That's why you go to see Mission Impossible because it's Tom Cruise actually doing this stuff.
Even the fact
You
that it's
appreciate
not Wesley Snipes. It's the stuntman. It's still great.
It's still awesome.
Yeah. No, there was no problem with that.
I mean, I am wondering where he got that rope.
I don't know. It's a
Every
pulley
time I
system.
watch, I'm
don't
like,
know.
where did he get it?
You just found it.
Yeah.
Do you care now?
Oh, I never cared because he swings and it's like, oh, shit.
So I like that. And then I also enjoyed the model plane. So a 1,000-pound model plane was used on a 1,200-foot long miniature road. Took 75 people, 6 months to bring the entire plane crash scene together. And that was under visual effects supervisor Peter Donnan. The interior of the plane was shot on stage in Chicago. It was a fuselage that was rigged to a gimbal system to simulate the jolting. They actually used another upside down plane that they could sink into the water and pull up at any time because the exteriors were used in the Ohio River, which is obviously in Illinois. So all that stuff happened. And it's like,
That's awesome.
I like model work. I know that when you watch it and you're just like, oh, it's a model, but who cares? It looks good.
Yeah, this model looks like it doesn't even really look like it's well lit.
It is. It's good.
And they only had one chance to do this because they only built one model. So it's 9 cameras set up to film the whole thing.
When it comes down and crashes and it rolls. It's a tangible thing that you can hold on to, that you can touch. Like, wow, that's, even though that's a 1,000-pound model, it's still something. Wow, that's impressive.
Thing,
yeah. That's
which,
to
even
me
today,
2021.
you film something like that in CG, it's going to look like CG.
Oh yeah,
there's no way to fake that.
There's a point when the plane starts going down, and that's CG. And I love Air Force One, but the end of Air Force One where the plane's going down,
it looks awful.
It's not great. It's not
ideal.
ideal.
It's a video game.
It's worse, but I would have much rather have a model plane doing that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So the crash is great, and everything leading up to it, and but I guess they wanted to make it big. But like one of the notes I have about the plane was like the inside of the plane they had to recreate on their own because
they were disappointed in how an actual prisoner.
So the director and the production designer went to real prisoner planes just to see, hey, like, what do they do here? And they just found out that they're just planes. There's nothing special. So they designed all the seats. They designed the locking mechanisms underneath, which makes no sense. That why wouldn't they just move their legs when they put them down there, when they're in the chains, and they drape the chains in a little thing and then it locks. It's like they could just lift up their legs if they don't see them. But regardless of that, the outside bathroom so that they can see them going to the bathroom, like all that stuff was was set up,
Right.
was designed by them, which it's cool. It's interesting. And it also it reminded me of Con Air a little bit.
Oh, because they're making up stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, it was good. So I enjoyed those two moments or those two sections of the film. Those are well done. That's probably where the bulk of the budget went because you weren't paying a lot of the people that are part of the team, like Roebuck and Pantoliano.
No, I'm sure Snipes and Jones are the ones that got paid.
Yeah.
No,
No doubt. Because Pantoliano, this is 98. He has yet to do The Matrix, or he's about to do The Matrix.
Right.
He has yet to be on The Sopranos. Bad Boys was 96.
He's been in Bad Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's done a couple things.
He's
by now, but yeah.
he's not where he could probably command a certain amount of money.
Right. He's certainly the biggest star of the side of his team, of Sam's team, but yeah, he's not as big as he is now.
Right.
But yeah, the crash is great. The stunts are great. I like that Wesley Snipes is actually going over that. In one scene, Sam Gerard's chasing Wesley Snipes, and you can tell it's actually Snipes jumping the fence and falling off the fence.
Yes.
And then they skip to Tommy Lee Jones, and Jones goes up, but then the stuntman goes
Of course, it's
over.
not him. Yeah, of course it's not.
But I was like, So a lot of stuff I like. I like them saving the prisoners. I like that scene after the crash.
Even though he leaves like 3 or 4.
He leaves 8. They killed 8 people.
Yeah.
Or no, 8 people died. So he leaves 2 people.
Well, he leaves people
6
still
people
attached.
sucked
They're
out,
drowning. Yeah.
Because he had no time. He gets the one guy out. But it's like, oh, that sucks. Like, I don't know what those guys did. Hopefully they really deserve it.
Well, they're all prisoners.
Well, yeah. I was like, damn. But I think that whole scene's great. I like that Sheridan, you get that he's not a bad guy, but at the same time, he does leave them, which is a little different because Kimball wouldn't have left.
Yeah, Kimball
would have stayed to save those other 2 guys.
That's my problem with sequels, is they always try to recreate the stuff from the original. It's like, just make your own film. I get it. Callbacks are fine. A little nods here and there are fine. But like when you're just out and out trying to match or double the scene that worked
right
in the first one, that's not going to work again. It's just not going to be. It's not going to be the same effect.
I think this crash had a good effect though.
The crash itself,
even like the scenes during it.
But see, the crash itself is fine. The actual, everything that went into it, which we just talked about 5 minutes ago. But the fact that it was done because they wanted to mimic the crash from the train and kind of give you that same. They're trying to use the same formula that made you like Richard Kimball to make you like Mark Sheridan, and we already talked about you can't do that.
The crash is doing that so much.
Well, after the crash,
after the crash, I don't think it makes you like him because he does leave those other 2 guys to die.
You're talking about Mark Sheridan?
Mark Sheridan, yeah. It just shows you that, it just gives you that moment where he and Gerard are together for the first time. It gives you that first ooh. Does he know that the movie's going to be about this guy?
I didn't get that at all.
This is like my 90th time. I don't know what it was like when I watched it the first time, but.
Well, how about this with Gerard? So I made the comment at the beginning that he's not the same Gerard from The Fugitive.
Right.
And I'll give you a couple examples.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you this first. How do you view Gerard's character to begin with from The Fugitive? Somebody who is what?
Someone who does their job to the letter of the law.
Right.
Someone who doesn't care if you're guilty or innocent. Someone who knows what they're tasked to do.
Right.
And will stop at nothing to do it.
I agree with that. I don't buy this Gerard who, when he shows up at the bar in the beginning of the movie, like, oh, it's the US Marshal. And they're all loud and they're all like, this is what we do. And they're like I don't buy the fact that Gerard is going to be like, I'm a US Marshals, motherfucker. How do you know what I mean? Like, we did this. Woo, yeah, buy everyone around. We're US Marshals. Woo. I don't buy that Gerard.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think that's Gerard. I think that's the Gerard that he plays for his team. I think he's the guy that just wants to get the job done.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Right.
But like the Gerard doesn't in The Fugitive again, I know we're not supposed to compare, but I am going to compare because it's the same set of characters. He gives shit to Noah in the beginning. He gives them all shit. He does it in this movie a little bit, but he does it almost like 95% in the first movie because he knows what the job is and he knows that it's tough and it's not, he's not,
this is a Gerard that's been working with his team for like 5 or 6 extra years now.
Right.
The same people.
When he shows up after the train crash in The Fugitive.
Right.
And he takes over.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about local law enforcement. He doesn't care about any of that. But in this one, he's just kind of like, oh, it's like it's played for laughs. And then he's like, well, what do you think we should do? The deputy, because the deputy's trying to do this thing. And then he comes in and kind of does this, and he does this thing. But like, you would think that he would already I don't buy that. I think he would just already be like this. No, we've got a fugitive. I'll take it over. Like, I think he's not as
Well, I think that also the plane crash kind of shakes him at the beginning, which I
Maybe.
would have liked to have seen more of, because it seems like that does affect him, and then all of a sudden it no longer affects him.
Right.
But in terms of like working with your team and like lightening up after a while, I was okay with that.
I don't like the lightening up. I don't know. To me, it's a different Gerard. I just feel it's different. Like, I understand the whole thing about lightening up with your team, but then that comment at the end of the movie when she says, look, your team looks like they need a drink. And then he goes and he does that. That moment would strike me much better if I didn't have the moment in the bar in the beginning, because I don't ever want to see Gerard let loose until
I would
maybe
agree.
the
Okay,
end.
I would agree.
You know
with
what I'm
that.
saying?
Maybe not be so loud, go there, but like not really talk much.
Yeah. I mean,
when he's more loud.
moving Gerard out of that scene, I thought they all were annoying. Like, if I'm in that bar,
I have the same note. If
Yeah.
I've never been to a cop bar, but man, I'd be like,
shut up.
Shush.
Yeah, I know. I get it. Oh, that's us on TV. It's like, calm the fuck
yeah.
down. Right?
Unless
Yeah.
like I knew it was a cop bar and I always go there.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I'm buddies
yeah.
with all of them. It's like, I'm just here for a drink, man.
Yeah, they were annoying.
Dinner.
They were annoying. Like,
Too loud.
real annoying. And they're like, hey, man. And he opens the beer. It's like, is he paying for that? Or are you just giving away your beer now? Like when Gerard walks in.
Oh, the bartender gives it to him like he knows.
Yeah, but like, I'm like, is that on his tab? Like,
I don't know if they gave him that other bottle of vodka, bottle of vodka in the house.
Yeah, no, that's the other thing with the team. The team doesn't, again, going from the first to the second, the team doesn't mature, not mature like adults, but mature in terms of like, I don't know any more about them. I don't know any background about them at all.
That's Royce's fault. By giving Gerard Royce,
Yeah.
you take away his time with the team because now he's with this
the
other new
script's fault.
person.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah.
I mean, he's got some time with Noah, calling him the kid and sending the kid out
Yeah.
to do things. But you don't really get a lot of time with the rest of the team because he's with this new Royce guy. And he's
Yeah.
like, that's his new, mentee. He's teaching him the ropes on how to be a US Marshal.
Yeah.
But that takes away what the movie should be about, which is US, like you said, US Marshals.
Yeah, no, it should be.
Yeah.
I need to know more about them. And I think more need to lose their lives, unfortunately. I think, you know what I mean?
See, I would agree with that if you didn't kill, like if you killing Noah that far into the movie, yes. But if you're going to kill Noah at the beginning, I don't think you need that.
Well, maybe
Because he's the kid. He's clearly the one that Gerard kind of looks out for.
right.
And
But,
then
like-
you kill him at the last 20 minutes of the movie.
They don't even. They have the same guy, and I don't remember the actor's name, but they have the guy that they keep calling, the older black guy with the mustache.
Right, yeah.
I don't remember the actor's
I
name.
believe he's
or-
from The Fugitive as well.
He is from the Fugitive,
Yeah.
but like I'm like, isn't he part of the team?
I thought the same thing. I was like, he was in The Fugitive.
Why
This
is
why
he-
I wanted to watch The Fugitive before.
Well,
I watched
you
this.
should just watch it because it's awesome. But I'm like, why isn't he there? Like, who's the team? Like, why isn't he part of that? Like, because he was with them in The Fugitive when they go interview the guy at the courthouse in jail. I'm pretty sure he's with them.
Also in the scene where they're at the St. Patrick's Day parade.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the scene
That's
right
the same
after.
thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's part of the team.
Yeah.
Maybe he was filming. I know he's in a bunch of stuff.
Okay,
I don't know
maybe
the
that's
actor's
why.
name,
Maybe
but
that's
I wonder
why.
if they had to like
Okay.
sneak him in.
Yeah, because at the end of the movie, when she's like, "Go be with your team," there's like 3 of them. I'm like, "There's not more." Like, thought there
That's
was
just
more.
the main guys that
Yeah.
visit him in the little podunk barbecue place.
Yeah, no.
But I still really like the dialogue. I like the team, even though I'd like to spend more time with the team. And I like Gerard. I think Gerard's an interesting character. I think the way he performs his duties is interesting.
Well, he's the reason why he won the Academy Award.
Oh, exactly. And the fact that it's Tommy Lee Jones and no one else
Yeah.
is playing this character other than Tommy Lee Jones. I know that in Quibi tried to do their new Fugitive series.
Oh, that
And
was
it was
stupid.
Kiefer Sutherland playing a character with a different name,
Yeah.
and the Fugitive was a different person and
No.
stuff like that. But I mean, you really like I'd be hard pressed to find another person. Obviously, this is based on a TV show where someone else did play Gerard, but you've got to have someone like Tommy Lee Jones who you believe is that letter of the law person.
He's letter of the law, but he's also just somebody who's a charismatic like officer.
Exactly.
Like,
That's the thing. Is you got to play.
You
both.
have that from Heat, but he's not obviously letter of the law. They're like Al Pacino's just trying to get at it. Den of Thieves with Gerard Butler, who's really good in that, but that's more again.
I still haven't seen Den of Thieves. I watched that.
Den of Thieves is it's actually good. It's got a lot of good action, but they're basically. They're almost like the same. The criminals and the cops almost like have the same bravado and the same tough mentality, but obviously one's cops and one's
One's
runners.
runners, yeah.
But I think you would like Den of Thieves.
Yeah.
Did you know that Wesley Snipes can't swim?
Oh yeah, he hated all his swimming scenes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, wow.
The scene where he pops out of that swamp, I'm like, you must fucking reek, dude.
I
You
saw
must
that.
Smell so bad.
I saw that when he pops out of the swamp. I'm just like, were you like all gung ho there, or did they have to talk you into that?
Oh, there was no way he's gung ho.
Well, I guess
I'd be like, getting somebody to make sure there's no alligators or snakes.
I guess either that part of the swamp or parts of that swamp they used to shoot the movie In the Heat of the Night.
Yep.
With Sidney Poitier.
Yep.
Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot his name. But yeah. Did you know in the beginning? I like the opening. I like
the chicken.
Yeah.
I like that.
But
scene.
he was supposed to be a priest.
And they thought it wasn't interesting.
Yeah.
Which I agree. I like him as the chicken.
Yeah.
I like him dropping the plate as that lady.
And she's like,
all right.
What I love is like she just all right, and she walks away. It's like, she'd be yelling at him.
Oh yeah. That'd be a whole thing.
Yeah.
He bit one of my kids, so I hit him on the head.
Yeah. I know. But that scene is good. That's like a classic 90s opening when they bust in. And they capture the two guys. So that's a nice way to introduce them again.
Oh yeah, that they're still doing their job. They're still catching fugitives.
Right,
Not all
right.
fugitives are innocent, which should have been the point. Do you love the Starbucks scene where they're suddenly in a Starbucks?
I just love the fact that she
Product
works.
placement.
So I'm trying to figure out. So he's a tow truck driver.
Yep.
And then he met her and she is a barista. Like that's her job. Okay.
An artist, but yeah.
But how about where she lives? Like on the third floor of some house, and they got to walk up the fire escape to get there. I'm just like, what? Why would you live here? You have to walk down and up and down this thing all the time.
Looks like a pretty nice apartment, though.
Oh well, that's the set, dude. I don't know. Maybe they did use that because when they walk out, it seemed like from the inside they were outside. Yeah. So maybe they were on location, which I can always appreciate.
I also noticed at the Windy City gym when they go to find Chen has murdered one of the guys they're looking for. I'm pretty sure is the Patty's Pub entrance from Always Sunny.
Oh no,
I'm pretty sure
that's in LA. That's on an LA backlot. I think.
Is it?
I believe so. They don't shoot. They don't shoot.
I know they don't shoot in Philadelphia.
Yeah, they only shoot some stuff in Philly.
Yeah.
But that's when you'll know when they're shooting Philly because they're in Philly, and you can see, oh, we're in Philly. But I think that's in LA.
Ooh,
maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, I know
exactly
that
like it.
I know that the cemetery that they shot at that they kept calling Queens Hill was in Chicago. It was not
clearly not in New York.
It was not in New York. So yeah. So they were all over the place.
Well, the whole time they're shooting up in the cemetery with the big gunfight, I'm like, who pays for the repairs to the cemetery? Is that going to be the government paying for it, or?
Well, some cemeteries are privatized, but they would probably send a bill to because I always think about in Lethal Weapon 3. When they is it 3 when they get busted? Yeah, they get busted down to patrol,
patrol
because they've cost the city so much money.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I always think about that. I speaking of the cemetery scene, I guess Snipes didn't like the outfit, the disguise they gave him. It was
it was dumb.
I can understand his trepidation, but why didn't they just change it? Like, would he just I don't like this? So
we only get the one wig, Wesley.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
The wig does look dumb.
And there's kind of going along with Snipes in terms of Mark Sheridan's character. There's a moment where he goes into that smoke shop, and it's like they never explain any of that. I know that's like a guy that is his old army
his
guy,
old sergeant. Yeah,
but what is this place? Is this a safety?
It's a place that the spies or the kites, as they say.
Yes,
which is a term
I've never heard. I've never heard the term kites before in terms of cutting the string and they're going. I go. They make that up.
Yeah. Where the spies on U.S. soil basically go to get their stuff and their orders and all that. And
yeah,
I thought that was really interesting, but I had the same question. I want to know more about that, and that's I think one of the problems with U.S. Marshals is I kind of want to know more about the spy stuff.
Well, that goes along with what we talked about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, it's a good scene because I like the fact that even the other guy doesn't know if Sheridan did it or not. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Kimball, it's like anyone who knows Kimball knows he didn't do it.
Right.
But with Sheridan, it's like you murdered people, so you don't really have anybody on your side.
And to be fair, even though this is not Snipes' fault, when you're comparing The Fugitive and this to Harrison Ford, who's in The Fugitive, who is a huge star, and this is The Fugitive's 93.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that was in when Ford was cranking out those hits. So his star was way bigger. So his people are going to The Fugitive because, that's the new Harrison Ford film. People are not going to this movie because Wesley Snipes is in it. And that is not to denigrate Wesley Snipes. He's good in this movie. It's just the script fails him and the kind of situations that failed his character.
Right. The other thing that really bothers me in the film is when they're in the old folks' home and they're searching all the rooms and locked door. All right.
Yeah,
let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
Why didn't he just lock the door when he went into one of the rooms and hide out?
Well, speaking of that, in that scene when Robert Downey Jr. is about to put bullets in his head, and then Noah comes in, I should say Royce, excuse me, and then Royce turns around and shoots him.
Right.
And then let's go. But like, there's still the old guy in the room. So nobody wanted to talk to the old man in the room and say like, hey, what happened here? Royce still should have shot him.
Well, clearly the old man can't speak.
Well, you don't know that.
Yeah, exactly.
He just had oxygen going on. So there was like a huge plot hole where it's like, you could just have the conversation. Like, I was just expecting him to wheel in and be like, exactly. Or like, we've caught you. Like, so I guess we should talk about the end. So at the end of the movie where Gerard figures out that Royce did it because Royce is putting away the gun that
supposedly killed Noah.
Yeah, that Sheridan had on him, and the serial numbers fall off. And then Gerard looks at the gun, and clearly it's the same gun that he showed him before. It's so stupid. It's so stupid of a.
And now Royce has a Glock to copy his mentor because Sheridan or Gerard said, you should have a Glock on you. Get away this toy. Royce should have just gotten another exact version of his silver gun.
Right. It was just dumb. Just a dumb way to just wrap it up.
So dumb is actually what I wrote in my note right there. That is my note.
What do I have in my note?
And then his big villain reveal takes so long. It's so ridiculous.
Well, that's my note is, why would he be that stupid to use the same gun as he had before? And then my second note is, this isn't a well thought out plan. Like, he goes in and he's ripping stuff out. It's like, you don't have any, you're a spy, right? You don't have any kind of, just put something in his IV that gives him a heart attack, and you have to make this big show of cutting him. Cut yourself loose, and then you're going to shoot him. No one's going to believe this.
I'm okay with that. Like, just trying to figure out something in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But the speech that he does and letting him fall to the floor and like talking about like, just get the job done.
Yeah.
Like, you're a spy. Just get the job done.
So for all the stuff that I'm saying about the film, the problems, I would actually not have been opposed if they did a third one and it was Sheridan was on Gerard's team and they were and like he became a US Marshal. You know what I mean? Like, I would have been okay with that.
All right.
Because and I think partly because I don't know enough about Sheridan in this movie. And
I mean, what else is Sheridan really going to do at this point?
Exactly. Right. He's no longer, he's got to come in. He's been, as he says, righteous. He's made righteous.
He can't be a spy again.
Yeah. What's he going to do? So
tow truck drive, use your skills, man.
Why wouldn't Gerard be like, why don't you come up and join the US Marshals or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, I would just like to have seen more anyway, because his crew is still a decent, like, again, they didn't spend enough time with him, but I still like them. They have personality. They clearly have a chemistry together.
Yeah.
Gerard is still great in this film. I know you don't like him as much, but I just think he's great.
Tommy Lee Jones is, I just think it's a different Gerard. That's all.
I think it's the same.
I just think
you're spending more time with him.
But he's not the same character as he was in The Fugitive. I'm still going to stay with that.
I think he's been affected differently this film. It's a different kind of case for him.
You tell me the moment in this film where in The Fugitive when Kimball tells him, I didn't do it. And he's like, I don't care. He's not like that in this movie. Maybe it's more because he's reacting to everything and he's not as proactive in this film. He's just reacting to stuff that's happening. You know what I mean? Like, because even in The Fugitive, and I know it's terrible to compare them, but even in The Fugitive, they're solving a case. They're having interviews with people. They're talking to people. They're trying to figure out what's going on.
Right.
This one, they're just tracking them down.
Well, because they don't have, it's a spy story.
Right. I got you.
But then they can't really follow it. They do a little bit toward the end. But for the most part, you're following Sheridan because they don't have this information. This information isn't something like Kimball is clearly trying to prove his innocence on a case from regular people. It's just not a cover up.
And there's an investment in the audience there trying to be like, oh my God, what happened? Who did it? Who did it? Who did it? They got to believe him. They're going to believe him. And this one, you're just like, you're
along for the ride.
Right.
Because you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think another thing is in The Fugitive, you know what's going on with that murder right away. You open with a very clear version of what happened with the murder. In this film, you open with this janky security camera
footage. The best security camera footage ever that does close-ups and...
Oh, yeah. This image is really blurry. Let's blow it up. And Carice, all right.
Yeah.
They're clearly in like Avid. 1998 Avid. No, blow it up, clear it up.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think if you had a little bit more clarity as to what happened in that garage, if it opened with the scene, and you never get the actual scene.
Yeah, true.
You only get the security. If you got the actual scene, you'd be more invested in Sheridan's case. And I also think it would have given it a bunch of action toward the beginning. But you get that with the chicken scene and the US Marshals hunting down the first group of criminals. But I think it wouldn't have hurt to have a more clear scene showing Sheridan's innocence, showing what he is. He's a dangerous guy, but he clearly was set up.
Yeah.
would have helped a lot better.
So in the original cut, Sheridan was working with Barrows. Now, Barrows is the one that goes to get the things at the end when he's going to kill him.
Yes.
Okay. And he was working with Barrows and he was selling intelligence to Chen. Lamb, who's the boss, got wind of this and sent 2 agents that Sheridan killed to intercept the backdrop. So between Chen and Sheridan. So that happens. Barrows then plants Sheridan's fingerprints to give Lamb the suspect of Sheridan. And then Chen arranged Sheridan's assassination on a prisoner transit plane so Sheridan wouldn't talk. So that was the original thing. Royce was never part of the conspiracy. This is the Robert Downey Jr. character.
Mhm.
He was simply blinded by revenge on Sheridan killing his 2 friends. And he never killed Noah, never killed Newman when he saw him trying to shoot him. And then after they did the test screening and they didn't like the fact that Gerard was chasing down a fugitive that actually was guilty, they reshot, like did a lot of post-production stuff. They reshot stuff to have that Royce and all to add that stuff in. So the stuff that we have, the stuff that we're complaining about is
Test
part of
audiences.
was part of the problem was they were putting in there. And
So it's really test audience's fault.
this is a movie that you didn't have somebody going, because this is directed by Stuart Baird and it's probably his first or second directed film. It's not
Second, yeah.
It's not Andrew Davis, who has more credits under his belt.
Right.
It's not Harrison Ford in the lead. So that kind of almost gives the green light for people to be like, oh, wait a minute,
We can make these changes,
Let's
right.
manufacture what they want. And that never works. I mean, maybe once in a million it works, and it never works.
That
So
works.
that's
What the
probably
audience wants works for big studio, like blockbuster action films, maybe your feel good popcorn flicks. And this is not what this is. This is
Right.
a thriller. And you hold into a story. I would like that much better with Royce not being guilty, because you get the yin and yang of Royce also looking for revenge. And Gerard, let's say, you said Noah doesn't die.
they say he doesn't kill him, but I don't know if he doesn't die.
So have Sheridan kill Noah.
Maybe, or why not? But why not have one? See, when you pop Royce in there in the beginning,
Right.
immediately your antenna's up going, this guy's not good.
So if
And
he
you
is
should
good, that's
play and you
interesting.
should play against that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And
But-
he should be able to prove himself that he's one of them.
Right. And Royce not getting that revenge or doing the right thing, and
Yeah.
becoming more like Gerard within the
Right.
letter of the law would really serve.
And then you can have a moment at the end where he's like, maybe I'll come on
Join
over
the
to you
team,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah. And that agreed.
Sheridan innocent or not, that would have been more interesting.
Yeah, no, agreed. They I think they were probably towing the line between trying to follow what worked in the first one and trying, and trying to add stuff that's different from the first one.
Right.
Because your focus is on the good
But
guys.
Clearly they did want to do that.
Yeah.
And then the audience wanted a
Well,
fugitive.
I don't know if the audience had that not the audience, but the test audience, the test
Right.
screening audience had that much of effect on the original version of the script, not just the ending, but in terms of the Sheridan plot or how much you saw the US Marshals. Because I don't have any notes in terms of like you knew anything more about Renfro or any of the other
No,
people.
I get that,
Yeah.
but they had that Sheridan had to be innocent and all that. I
Yeah.
think that changes the movie quite a bit.
Okay.
But that being said, I still really do like this movie. I think it's still fun to watch. I think it is a little too long. I think you could have cut short some Sheridan stuff because, again, you don't find out a whole lot about him to begin with. So
Yeah.
what does it matter?
It's a movie that if someone said, "Hey, what do you want to watch?" I've never seen US Marshals. You want to watch that? I'd be like, okay, but it's not a movie I'm picking.
See, I'd still go back to this movie every once in a while.
See, I'd
mean,
rather
not
just
like
watch
all the
it. I
time.
just watched The Fugitive.
The Fugitive is a better movie. I'm not saying that it's not.
That's why I would watch it.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily make this a bad movie.
I
It's
agree.
still a decent movie. I think the dialogue's great. I think the acting's great. I think Tommy Lee Jones is awesome. The music's pretty. We didn't even go over the music. I like the music.
The music is
theme
good.
song's good.
Classic night. Listen, I like the 90s action. I like the stunt work. I like the plane. I like the jump. I like the opening. I like seeing Tommy Lee Jones. I like the overall characters. There's a lot of stuff I do like in this movie. I am not invested in the story of Mark Sheridan or anything else that I'm just like, I don't care. I just don't. So that doesn't bring me to
Much like
there's no intrigue.
Sam Gerard doesn't care.
He doesn't say that in this movie.
He
Not
doesn't
that he
need to
want-
say
not
it.
that I want him
don't
to.
want him to say it again.
But there's that. I just no. Anything else before we wrap up?
This movie's not as bad as you think it is. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. It does have problems, but it's not bad. I still enjoyed this
I think
film.
you're giving it a pass because I don't know why. Why are you giving it a pass?
Why do you hate everything?
I don't hate everything, but there's major plot holes in this movie.
The only thing you've liked lately is old, like 19.
This movie is a super
2000s
flawed.
indie
This movie has major flaws that I cannot ignore. Do I hate the movie? No, but it's got major flaws.
I don't call them major. It's got flaws.
If the foundation of a movie it's script, and I'm telling you the script is got flaws, then the whole foundation, the whole movie it's got cracks.
It's got cracks. I don't know.
So you live in your broken house of a film. Okay, fine. Well, then, I mean, we haven't even asked the question about why it's forgotten. Why are we saying it's forgotten? Why are you saying it's forgotten? Because you chose
have Harrison Ford as the Fugitive.
That's why you think it's forgotten?
Because the Fugitive is the problem is, and this is something else, like you even said, you can't get out of your head, is the Fugitive is a classic. The Fugitive is fantastic. It's definitely up there in Harrison Ford's top, I don't know, 5 films if you can count Indiana Jones as one.
Oh yeah, you count like the whole his
trilogy.
Character. Yeah, gotcha.
It's top 5. It's top 5 Harrison Ford films, and it's a huge 90s film.
You could say it's top 5 Harrison Ford if you exclude Star Wars, and any Indiana Jones.
Yeah, you got to combine them as character. Yeah. You're not going to beat it, and you're always going to compare it against it, and it'll never be that good.
Agreed.
The same thing. Anything with the sequel, it'll never be as good as, or rarely be as good as the classic. It'll still be good, something you want to watch, but it's tough to make anything better than the thing that was so big and so great.
Right.
I mean, even when Empire Strikes Back came out, people didn't like it as much as the first Star Wars. It took a long time for it to become the better Star Wars, or it took a few years for it to become the better Star Wars.
I think the fact that Ford's star was so big that's what, I mean, I don't want to compare them, but like, I think that's probably why it didn't maybe do as well as the Fugitive.
That opening weekend, it's total gross. It just...
Yeah. I don't think people were interested in the Sam Gerard character as much as the studio thought they would be.
Which is too bad, because I really like Tommy Lee Jones as Sam Gerard. I think he does a great job, and I think he's an interesting character. But yeah. I would agree.
It's definitely,
the money shows it.
Well, it's definitely a character that could be in other things. Let's put it that way.
Oh, you know for sure. I wouldn't mind even like a book series.
Do you remember the movie where he's the Texas Ranger and he has to watch the cheerleaders?
Yep.
It's almost like that could have been Sam Gerard.
Put them in different genres each time.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, that could have been the Sam Gerard character, but that's
absolutely
neither here nor there. All right, man. Where can they find us?
They can find us on ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or wherever you get your podcast. Clearly, you're listening to us right now. So while you're here, wherever you are, just drop a little likey, a little subscribey, a little reviewy. Just help us out.
I don't like any of that.
All that stuff goes a long way in helping our podcast grow. And check out ForgottenEntertainment.com. We got a bunch of other great shows there, as well as our own and our blog posts and all that kind of good stuff. And on the social medias at Forgotten Cinema Pod or Forgotten Cinema, depending on where you are.
Yes, that's great. Sounds great. Find us. And come back next week because we're coming back. We're actually going back to 1987. We're going back to high school. We're going to watch Jerry Mitchell get the crap kicked out of him in 3 O'Clock High, a movie that Butler has not seen.
Nope.
So this should be very interesting.
I didn't know of the title.
You never heard of it, which is surprising because it's a kind of a cult classic.
Apparently, yeah. It's part of a Brat Pack film. Yeah, but yeah.
The Brat Pack. Remember them? All right. So nonetheless, I am Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema.